So less than 2 weeks ago, one of my YouTube subscribers emailed me video of his backhand asking if I could help him. Well, that day I did a side-by-side comparison of his backhand versus the pros. Well, 2 weeks later, this morning, he sent me video of his new improved backhand, and you're going to be shocked by the improvement. Hello, it's Ryan from 2minutetennis.net, and in this video, I'm going to show you an amazing before and after transformation. So this is Ash. You might remember 2 weeks ago, he sent me a video of his backhand, and I gave us some really simple suggestions. And this morning, he sent me this video, the after video, and I was blown away. Let's first look at some of the suggestions I asked him to make. The first thing was to not drop his racket so low at the beginning. You can see immediately the space that's between him and the racket, and that the racket is much higher rather than his hand so close to his body. So the fact that his racket is up, his back elbow is up, amazing difference. Great, great job, Ash. You can see that I asked him to keep his left hand on the racket longer as he dropped the racket. You can see right as he begins the racket here in the before, he drops his left hand off the racket. This is such a common mistake. You want to keep your left hand on the racket as it's dropping, and it should actually go in front of you. And we're going to talk about that, Ash, in a second. You can see here he still has his strings facing off to the left. We're going to talk about why that is. And I'm going to ask that Ash closes his racket face, but I'm going to show him the key to this in a second here when I'm back in front of the camera. But look at the difference in the finish. He's keeping his chest to the side more. He's got the left side of the letter V. There's the letter V. He's got the left side of the V, as I asked him to have, to keep that wrist angle intact between the arm and racket, making him so much more consistent. You can see the body is to the side rather than facing forward. And when your body is to the side, the racket swings out toward the target. His left hand is much farther behind him rather than coming forward. Amazing job, Ash. So what I want to do now is I just want to show you the after stroke. Now, Ash, the first thing is I want you to raise this elbow in your ready position. You'll notice how it goes up. See your left elbow go up once you see the ball come to you. I want you to have it up from the beginning. I don't want you to have to lift it. Have your elbows out in the ready position. Again, I'll show you this in front of the camera just to make sure that you don't start falling into the habit where it stays down. So I want that left elbow to be up in the ready position because I want it up when you take the racket back. Now, when you take the racket back, you can see this little dip. See that dip right there where your racket goes like this? It drops a little bit and then it comes up. I want it to be more of a straight line, and I'll show you that. I want the backswing to be very smooth, and you can see how there's a reset where your racket goes up here. I want it to just come straight around and then it's going to drop. I don't want you to go halfway back and then to raise it. You can actually see the tip of the racket is at the top of the screen. Notice at first it's going straight back and then it rises. Watch, your racket's going straight back, then it rises up. I don't want you to go up. It can make the swing too large and can make you late, especially on a deep, fast ball. Now, when the racket drops, two things need to occur. The left hand needs to stay on the racket, and it needs to be visible on the front side of your body. And you have to close the racket face. So you'll notice when you drop your racket is still on edge, and your left hand is actually visible behind you. Now, the reason your racket is still on edge is because you are very close to the ball. When you look at Wawrinka, his ball is over here, and it's what allows you to swing out away from your target. Swing out away from your body so that when you get to contact, you're swinging up and you can direct your racket toward the target. Your ball is very close to you, and this is actually this is caused by your old swing. And you've kind of trained yourself to be very close to the ball. So now that we're trying to develop a new swing, we have to develop a new contact point. The contact point needs to be over here, but that really means that you have to stand because the ball's in the right place. You need to stand more to the right so that you're farther away from the ball. And that way you don't pull across your body. If you were to actually close your racket face right now, Ash, if you were to close your racket face, since you're forced to swing across as you hit, you would just bury the ball in the net. So it's actually smart of you to have your racket string straight across like you could balance a coin on the edge of the racket. That actually helps you to have the contact point be correct. But what we actually want is for you to get pure topspin, and that's going to require you standing more to the right and farther away from the ball. But you'll also notice that as you let go with that left hand, that the left hand doesn't come forward. What you want to do, and this is what you see with the pros, is the left hand comes forward with the racket, then it goes back. your left hand is still just going back. So it's not really a counterweight the way it should be. So we want those arms to go opposite directions as you're hitting the ball, meaning the racket's going this way and the left hand's going that way. You really can't do that with your left hand, and you can see how it pulls your left hand forward. Watch your left hand get pulled this way. See your left hand go forward as you're hitting the ball? The left hand should go backward, but it can only go backward if it comes forward first. Where your left hand is right now, that's where your left hand should be prior to hitting the backhand and prior to hitting the ball. And then it's going to go back. So I want you to keep your left hand on longer. So we're going to drop the racket down with both hands, close the racket face. But I absolutely love this finish. Again, you've got the left side of the letter V. There's a great video, I'll show it to you right now, of Tsitsipas hitting the return of serve against Medvedev, and this is the exact finish he uses on that return. And here's a look at that backhand. And by the way, this video is courtesy of Racket Comedy on YouTube, an incredible channel. Make sure that you subscribe to their awesome channel. I absolutely love their content. So in the description, I've put their link. So check out Tsitsipas here. Watch how he drops the racket. Look where his left hand is. Left hand is on the front side of his body. It's not going directly behind. And you can see that when you drop, your left hand is just going back. So before you're hitting the ball, notice the two of you are in a very similar place where his left hand is here and your left hand is back here. So we want that left hand on the front side of the body. But watch the finish. Watch how similar the two of you are. Man, I love this. Look at the racket angle. You guys are awesome. This is exactly the same. So he's got the right side, the left side of the letter V. You have the left side of the letter V. That means when you're done, your strings are actually facing up to the right. So great, great job. All right, let me show you this in front of the camera. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I want Ryan to choose me for an analysis on YouTube, then drop me an email, ryan@2minutetennis.net, and include a short video of you hitting the stroke you would like me to analyze. And I might just choose you for an upcoming YouTube video. Now, I've got the Topspin Pro here. You know what to do. Grab my affiliate link in the description below. I'll even pin my link in the first comment. It would mean the world to me and my family if you were to use my affiliate link to get a Topspin Pro for at-home practice. So thank you. Ash, great, amazing improvement. I am so proud of you for how much you've gotten this technique down in just a short time, less than 2 weeks. So let's take it up another notch. All right. When you take your racket back, start with your elbows in or elbows up in the ready position. And when you take it back, the elbow will already be up. No need to lift it. Right? So I want your elbows up. It's called a ready position for a reason. You're going to be ready for your forehand and backhand turn. So no more elbows in. I want you to wait with your elbows out. The next idea, when you take your racket back, rather than going halfway back and having this little dip and then going up, try to make it a very smooth take back, where the racket is smooth and that it doesn't, go up and down and it's a bumpy backswing. We don't want a bumpy backswing. We want a smooth backswing. Next, when you drop the racket, Ash, both hands on the racket. Players who drop early, when they finally keep the left hand on or the non-hitting hand on for as long as they should, they almost tell me, they say, Ryan, I feel like I'm going to almost hit the ball with two hands. That is the feeling that you will have when you are used to taking that hand off too early. We want the left hand for you, Ash, to stay on the racket longer for two main reasons. First, when the left hand stays on longer and gets in front of you, there's actually a place for it to go back to be the counterweight as you're hitting that ball, which is an accelerant to the racket. It also helps keep your body sideways so your swing tracks out longer towards your target. But having that left hand on the racket can also help you assist closing the racket face. It's in your best interest to have your racket face closed prior to hitting, because when you close your racket face prior to hitting, it makes it very easy to have your racket square against the back of the ball to put the topspin on that you're looking for. So drop the racket down with both hands, Ash. Strings are closed, but you'll also notice you need to stand farther away from the ball. You're so close to the ball, and it's kind of chicken or egg. I don't know what happened first because I wasn't there the first time you tried it, but these two ideas work together. A player who has the racket straight up and down wants to be very close to the ball so that they can swing across as they hit. What we want to do is be able to swing up as we're hitting the ball. So the key to that is actually what's called an inside-out swing. So we want to swing from close to our body to away. So the racket swings out away from you. Then as you're hitting, that's when you're spinning up the back of the ball. So you want the racket to go away from you, and then when it gets to the ball, it's actually going straight up during contact. You can only be going up during contact consistently if you're far enough away from the ball that you can swing away from your body. Look at Wawrinka. He is so far away from the ball, and it's one of the keys to his amazing backhand. Then as you're hitting, that's when this left arm will then go backward. And by doing that, that keeps your body to the side, as I mentioned, but I actually want you to focus on, you'll kind of feel like you're pinching your shoulder blades, staying sideways. Don't face your target. If this wall is my target, I'm going to stay sideways. But Ash, amazing job with the left side of the letter V. That keeps the forearm angle intact and makes you so consistent rather than using wrist and feeling like your strings are facing all over the place. And it just doesn't make for a very good shot. And I can tell you that, does every pro finish that way on every backhand? Of course not. But do pros use the left side of the V when hitting down the line passing shots, returning serve, when the opponent's, at the net, they don't have a lot of time? Absolutely. Anytime a pro, taking the ball on the rise, anytime a pro is looking for more control, they'll use that left side of the V finish, and that's why I want you to use it. So Ash, if you make these simple changes on top of what you've already done, there is no doubt, you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. Ash, you got this.